The last time on Shadow Piece, another battle between the two sides started. Press versus push, Fujitora versus Morley. At first this confrontation was just another battle, but as both sides continued to change the flow of the gravitational forces around them, things got weirder and weirder. Attacks randomly slowing down or speeding up, occasionally even changing the trajectory or the size of the weapon. However, not only the two warriors were affected by the weird phenomens, their surroundings also started to get deformed. Straight buildings got cursed, the road grew bumpy, and everything in the vicinity started to twist and get reshaped in one way or another. Even Admiral Fujitora's exceptional observation haki couldn't keep up with this battle. It had become a useless factor, taking away the massive advantage he had over Morley. But it is always in these kind of battles that fighters surpass their own limits and reach new heights. Isho unleashed a gravitational force like he had never done before, the Billion Tiger Push. Exerting the weight of 1 billion tigers on one specific location would be enough to crush a mountain completely, and now this force is on Morley's body alone. That would be the case if she really was alone. Ivanko's hormones, Battle Betty's motivation, Lindbergh's trident, and finally her own desire to push herself over her own limits for the sake of the entire revolutionary army. Under normal circumstances, the 250 megatons of tigers would mercilessly finish her, but not today. This is not enough to defeat me, little kitty cat. I may not be exactly like them, but the blood of Elbaf warriors flows through me no matter what. Using all her physical might, in addition to her devil fruit powers, she pushes against the massive force of gravity, creating a vortex of gravitational forces between herself and Fujitora in the process. Both of them were getting pulled towards it, but by anchoring herself on the ground, Morley could withstand the sucking power. On the other hand, the same could not be said for the airborne Marine Admiral. Despite giving it his all, that vortex got created by their clashing powers and is thus overpowering him completely. For one moment, gravity on the Kamabaka Queendom stopped, and everything and everyone not connected to the ground started to float. Even the entire island rose up a tiny bit, and then everything returned to normal. The confusion only stopped the battles for a short amount of time. Some didn't even bother to stop and battled in zero gravity for a moment. Right now, Morley is on her knees, capable of catching her breath for a moment as her opponent had disappeared. What exactly that vortex was is unclear, but the end result is obvious. It completely devoured Fujitora and made him disappear from the face of Earth. Is he dead? Even the woman who just fought against him didn't understand the situation. While her surrounding remained distorted from the gravity showdown, everything else had returned to normal. The standard 15 meters per second squared gravity of the world, and also the windless atmosphere of the Kamabaka Queendom. After this battle, the commander of the West is left exhausted and fatigued, but she can't just keep sitting around and rushed over to the closest place where a battle was also going on. When the forces of the Revolutionary Army saw Morley approaching, their morale rose to new heights, and the opposite happened for the Marines. Both sides knew that the arrival of a commander meant that the defeat of an admiral happened, but they also have leading figures present in this location. 5 vice admirals in total are part of this specific battle: John the Giant, Bastille, Dol, Dalmatian, and Momonga. As vice admirals, it is their job to keep all the other soldiers on track, so without hesitating, John rushed towards Morley, and Momonga started a speech for his soldiers. "Soldiers of the Marine, we all knew this war would come with casualties. It doesn't matter if an admiral died, all that matters now is how much damage they dealt to the commander." As most soldiers are occupied with their own battles, they can't look, but they still understand the meaning of those words. "Look at that giant. Morley of Fur is exhausted and hurt. We will finish what the admiral started, without failure." Even before Momonga could finish his speech, the giant vice admiral started clashing with Morley. Two people who both left behind Elbaf for their own reasons. Now their sword and trident are colliding. However, the power difference becomes apparent instantly. Well, actually it is more of a technique difference, as power-wise both giants are roughly the same. With one fluid motion of her trident, Morley disarmed the vice admiral and sent the gigantic katana flying away, killing many marine soldiers in its path. The female giant is not one to brag or look down on others, so the next words that left her mouth were by pure accident. "You are much weaker than I expected." Hearing that stung the ego of John and further hurt the Marines' morale, while boosting the energy of the Revolutionary Army. Unconsciously, Morley let out that condescending remark, just because compared to Fujitora, this giant who was taken from Elbaf in the past is not much of a fighter. The gap between them is just as big as the one between the strongest revolutionary commander and dragon, and that gap, that is massive. But this isn't just a 1 versus 1. Only seconds after the giants collided weapons, Doll and Dalmatian jumped in with their own attacks. Rock and roll cannon! First, Doll imbued her fists with advanced armament haki before stretching her arms backwards, and then let them fly forward in one instant. Even amongst vice admirals, the young woman is very proficient in armament haki. And that becomes apparent as Morley coughs up blood from the impact. Advanced armament haki hurts the inside of the body. So while Morley used a technique of her own, she only managed to catch the outer part of the damage. Dalmatian doesn't wait either. His animalistic fighting style required him to be on all fours, and he shouts out, "DD Assault!" The Danger Dalmatian, or shortened DD, is his own unique combat style. His claws are getting covered by armament haki, and his eyes change to a glowing red. But before he connects his attack, Morley retaliates. Counter push! While unable to push away the internal damage part of Doll's attack, Morley completely pushed away the outer half, sending both Dalmatian and Doll flying backwards, not dealing much damage but giving herself some space. Just this small exchange made a few things obvious. First, Morley is a monster. Second, they need to attack together or their attacks will be used to stop the next one. And third, what the flying fuck is going on the eastern coast of the island? A massive storm is hitting only that location, but worrying about other places isn't something anyone can do at this very moment. All 5 vice admirals start fighting together, dealing continuous damage to Morley while suffering injuries themselves as well. Haki flourishes in difficult battles, and the fight against Fujitora made Morley reach unimaginable heights. Her observation haki lets her dodge attacks more frequently, while her armament haki allows her both to deal more damage and also resist their attacks better. If this was heard from just a day ago, she would have struggled against just the duo of John and Bastille, but now she is keeping up with 5 vice admirals. Her presence has changed the flow of the battle in this location to the Revolutionary Army's favor. However, Morley can't keep this up much longer, as she still needs strength to help her fellow commanders in the future, and also the exhaustion of her battle against Fujitora and now this one against 5 vice admirals is starting to catch up to her. So she starts to unleash one of her own techniques, a new one she just came up with after her battle against the Purple Tiger. Gravity Disaster! Moving both her hands to the ground, the gravity in the area starts to increase, and so does her exhaustion. Not only does she need to suppress 5 vice admirals and countless other marines in the area. In addition, Morley also needs to control the gravity she is pushing in a way that leaves all her own allies unharmed. Extreme precision plus incredible strength, a combination that is insanely taxing on her body. Screams of terror, both filled with pain and fear, fly across the battlefield. The incapacitated marines are getting killed one after the other by the revolutionary soldiers. Such a massacre hurts Morley, even though she knows that those people are her enemies. And then, suddenly, the increased gravity stops. None of the soldiers were capable of penetrating the advanced armament haki of the vice admirals, and now everybody is just floating. Morley is confused. She isn't the one doing this, so the only one besides her who could would be... But shouldn't he be dead? Every single thing in the area starts to slowly get sucked towards one place, and in that spot a purple vortex starts to appear. The sucking force grows stronger and stronger, until everybody gets repelled away in an instant. No matter if marine or revolutionary, everyone got blasted away into buildings. Short dark hair, a clean face, and blood running down from it. Only one eye is open, showing his red iris, and then a voice that everybody recognized started talking. It did sound somewhat different though. So this is what the world looks like right now. How horrible. However, this time I will see it through to the end. I will change the world with this new power. And Morley, you will be the first to experience it. Get ready, girl. And this is the end of today's episode of Shadow Piece. I hope you enjoyed it. And yes, this is obviously Fujitora returning at the end. I was really debating on if I should fake out his death for this entire episode and make you wait until next week, or maybe I should just not finish the Morley battle and switch over to the next battle, which would be Ivankov's. But then I just thought, nah, I don't really like how One Piece jumps from battle to battle and doesn't like finish one battle before going to the next. So we are going for the Morley battle in its entirety before we jump over to Ivankov and then the next one. So I hope you really liked it, because, well, Fujitora is not done. He is not dead, obviously. That would be way too easy to just get sucked in by some sort of gravity vortex. But something has happened to him, and I wonder if you can guess what it is. I mean, this picture, I don't use pictures that much anymore, but this picture should have made it obvious. But for now, that's all from me for today. All that's left to be said is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro out. Bye!